You wipe your ass, you peasant.
You
I have a bidet.
Oh, man.
I have a tiny hamster that cleans my butthole every time I go to the bathroom.
With its bare little nugget fingies.
Once that movie sit ahead, don't ask her like she'll say, I haven't seen it.
Welcome to the Haven't Seen It podcast. This is a podcast where we bring people on the show, we get them really drunk, and they tell me about a movie that I've never seen before. I am Alenka Zach. Alenka Zach. Sorry, Alenka. I'm sorry. I really wanted to introduce her.
You want to do it again?
No, I like this so much better where I'm jumping on your intro. Okay, good.
And I will.
I like it so much. I don't even want to introduce. Yeah, I don't want to introduce our guest. I want our guest to introduce because this is a good theme.
All right.
Okay. Hello. I am.
No! You say, and I, Rebecca!
And I, Rebecca. I nailed it.
God damn it.
Why?
It's and I, not yes and.
Fuck.
And
Guys,
Rebecca.
We have. Thank you. Finally. Jesus Christ. Listeners, you'll understand momentarily when we explain to you what movie we're going to see. You could guess, but I think you might guess wrong because I think this movie is like another movie that also is like I something, but it's not. I'll explain later. Speaking of yes and, we have another hilarious improviser on our frickin' show today, you guys. From the beautiful Laughs on Tap and the beautiful Descendants Brewery. Hilarious trivia comedian hostess, Rebecca fucking Young.
That's me. Hello. Thank you guys so much for having me.
Thank you for coming
being here.
on.
I guess I should say
excited.
I'm technically still Rebecca Young, but I did get married last October, so I should be Rebecca Neal, but that's a questionable.
But fuck that guy.
Yeah, we don't like Matt, so we're just not going to. If we
Sorry
wanted
about
Matt on the
it.
show, we would have asked him. We don't want his last
He's
name
not
on the
here.
show either.
Okay.
Just kidding.
Scratch
Congratulations.
Scratch everything I just said. I'm just Rebecca Young. Forever and always. That's me.
From now on, you're just Reb. Okay.
Just Reb. Okay. That's me.
Reb without a cause.
Oh, nice.
Which is,
I like
I
that.
mean, Reb without a cause. I do like that. I mean, I usually... I do trivia hosting a lot of the time, and people usually call me like Alex Trebecca, and I like Reba with a cause, without a cause, better.
Honestly,
Well, your cause is asking people questions. That's what it is.
My cause
Alex
is asking
Trebecca?
questions.
Yeah,
pretty damn good.
Not too bad. I mean, Alex Trebek, he's looking for a new replacement, so here I am.
Email him, Alex. If you're out there.
Oh yeah, I got his
Too soon?
Gmail.
That's too
I'm
soon.
just gonna text him. What's not? It's not. Nothing's too soon. Nothing's wrong. He's still alive. He's fine. He's kicking.
That's true.
Nothing bad
It's
is ever going to
fine.
happen to him.
Why wait? You know, why just always wait? What is too soon? What is too early? What is too late?
These are the questions. I
Say
ask
the
myself.
things you need to say now because tomorrow may never be. So Alex Trebek, stop doing what you're doing and give it to Rebecca Young. Neal. Young Neal. Neil Young.
Young Neil.
One, we have a female host and also Canadian. We can keep it going.
Just keep it going.
Canada
keep that
style.
Canadian. You know, there was already a guy. Give it to a lady. I'm a lady.
Yeah, it's 2020, Alex.
It's 2020, Alex.
It is totally
Figure it
Alex's
out.
choice. It is always going to be
It's
his
always
choice.
his choice. I will bow down to whoever he chooses, but also pick me.
Yeah, choose the right one, Alex.
All right, listeners, we're starting a hashtag Rebecca Young for Jeopardy
Yes.
host, replacing Alex Trebek. That's how long the hashtag
Yeah,
will
let's
be.
start a
That's it.
hashtag actually also that's called Replace Alex Trebek 2020 and see how well that goes.
No, don't kick him out. He can stay as long as he wants, but just when he does leave, Just give me the crown. You know, I don't want to push him out too soon because he is.
But
a
I do want to
treasure.
start the hashtag.
Yeah.
Wow.
But also,
you can't gracefully
you do whatever you want.
take over. You can't gracefully take over. You gotta.
There's gonna be some heat
to the curb.
There's gonna be heat.
Kick him while he's down.
Oh God, he's a treasure.
You know, Alex Trebek, if you're listening, we're sorry.
I
feel like making fun of Alex Trebek is like on the same level as making fun of Fred Rogers. You just can't, or else you feel bad.
Just don't do it,
Mr. Rogers.
Yeah, I know.
Accurate way to wait. Yep.
So I watched Mr. Rogers. No sweater. He had a sweater, and was there a train? Little baby train.
Oh, are we going to do
little
that?
Baby train.
Mr. Rogers.
Choo-choo, baby. There was a baby train with the puppets.
Yeah, no, I watched him. I don't remember what it was about.
I gotta say, I watched more Mr. Dress Up than Fred Rogers.
I think too. Which also, Bananas in Pajamas and
Bananas and Pajamas.
What's that? What's that one?
Polka Dot Door. You're thinking of what was the Scribble? Scribble was his name.
That was the name. But what was that show?
Polka Dot Door and Polka Dot Shorts.
I don't know about that.
There's Pingu.
Oh fuck! I had the Catholic version. I don't know.
Catholic.
There was a Catholic version? There's a Catholic version of everything, of course.
I just always use Catholicism as an excuse for my ignorance, but it's not. It's not accurate.
You're not the only person that does that. Let's just be honest.
I just want to default. I just want something to buffer my stupidity. And
well, speaking of ignorance, Alenka, you're very ignorant of this movie.
Oh, for real though.
Yeah. And what are we talking about today?
We're talking about I, Tonya. I, Tonya. Is there an exclamation mark?
No.
Okay.
I, Tonya.
I, Tonya. Which, here's what I think about it and what I perhaps know about it. First, Margot Robbie.
Mm-hmm.
Margot Robbie. Yep.
Okay. I don't know if this is a comedy, but I feel like her hair is comedic in it. So I assumed it was a comedy. Is it curly?
For a lot of it,
like
it's
poofy.
curly. It's poofy.
She's Russian?
I mean,
maybe?
No,
okay, don't know.
Not even.
Okay.
She's very
she
American.
skates. She's a figure skater.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, this is what I thought. I thought she was a Russian figure skater because her name was Tonya. And I thought it was like Tonya. And Tonya, I thought it was like, again, because like the foreign, like just the broken English, like her introducing herself. I did think it was perhaps a comedy. I'm going to say it's a dark comedy. That's the vibe I'm getting. Also, fun fact.
I would say.
Yeah.
When I lived in New York, there was like a used DVD shop that I went to. And I specifically remember seeing a bootlegged version of I, Tonya. And it just had a picture of the figure skate, skate. And there was a note beside it that said, actually, not bad.
What a great review.
Yeah. So that's legitimately all I know about this movie. I have no
You know what?
clue.
I think Blockbuster would have done a lot better if they just put Post-it notes of what they thought of every movie on the top of it. They never would have gone bankrupt.
They wouldn't have, because people love honest reviews.
Exactly.
It's true. It's
I would say actually not bad would be my review.
Yeah.
I enjoy it.
I really enjoyed it. I remember watching it probably less than a year ago when it first came out onto the Fletnix. I don't know. Can we talk about what actual Netflix is? I don't know.
Yeah.
I remember when do they sponsor us? I don't know.
Oh yeah.
Not yet.
Not yet, but they will. They will.
Fuckers.
I remember watching it. I've watched it a couple times now. And each time I watch it, I feel like I have the same kind of impact. It's a fun movie. It's interesting to watch. There's never a dull moment. And yeah, a lot of good acting. It's definitely not. It's, you know what I would say. So I like it because it's somewhat biographical, but you can tell that there are a lot of artistic liberties taken with it. And the liberties that they've taken with it has made the story more interesting. It makes it a bit funnier. It makes it more compelling. And it makes it a little bit more believable because it's, I mean, I don't want to give away too much, but it's based on real events.
She an Olympian?
Yeah. And it makes, I mean, it makes athleticism and the Olympics seem really cool and kind of punk rock. So
interesting. Because what I had assumed also, again, because I thought she was Russian, I thought it was going to be like that whole Russian gymnast type of movie where it's just like, whoa, that's intense. You shoot a bullet at that young girl's arm so that she skates faster. But I suppose she's American, so that's not.
Yeah. That's exactly what happened.
Yeah.
I mean,
I think that'd be the better movie, actually.
Are women in America named Tonya?
Yeah.
No.
Are there?
I don't think so.
Do you just ask if there's people named
because
Tonya?
It's spelt the Russian way. It's not spelt Tonya. It's spelt like Tonya. I just feel
Tonya?
like
it's not spelled Tanya, but it's spelled Tonya, like Tony.
Which is the Russian way, I guess.
It just seems like a very, I don't know. I can't get the Russian out of my mind, and something about it just like I feel like Margie is her new name.
Margot.
That's because you're Eastern European,
Margie.
So you've just got that on the brain. So
yeah,
you're just
constantly.
You're ready for it to be a foreign affair.
I would love it to be.
Always.
So whatever bits we can smudge the lines on here, just do it for me.
Well, only one of us is probably drinking the real legit drink, and it's not me, folks.
It's actually not well.
I have to say, I'm drinking it, and it is much better than I thought it would be. I thought it was going to be like pretty strong and crazy. It's strong, but it's drinkable.
Mine's tasting more like the quid pro quo from our Silence of the Lambs episode.
No,
so not
I'm
the bean
so
juice,
sorry.
but just the really dark wine mixed with other things. But let's get to that. Our drink today is called the Triple Axel, and I've sort of modeled it off of Tonya Harding herself.
Okay.
The drink is there's not really measurements, but you could just put half bourbon whiskey and half champagne, and then you can top that with some ice. You can maybe shave the ice if you want to get a little skate shavings.
I get it.
And then squeeze some lemon juice in that, get some lemony flavors on top, maybe to represent blonde hair. I don't know.
It's very yellow looking, very reminiscent of our curly crazy hair that we talked about. Yeah. So actually, I'm kind of curious, do you know anything about like the real story?
Nope. I don't watch the Olympics. I just literally Googled Tonya Harding to see the hair, and it just said something like disgraced Olympian or whatever. And I was like, ooh, drama.
Drama.
Well, here,
as evident
I'm very
in our previous
disconnected.
episodes, I don't think Alenka is a big student of any kind of history.
Listen, you're right. You are absolutely right. I like to live in the goddamn moment.
Yeah, in the moment.
In my own cognitive activity, pretty much. I don't like to. This is stressful. Let's not talk about me. Let's talk about Tonya.
Let's not talk about you. Let's talk about Tonya. Tonya.
Rebecca, take it away. How does this movie start?
Okay, so this movie starts off right off the bat. You get like the black screen and the text on the screen telling you, basically laying down the scene. And it's like, okay, so it's based on irony-free, wildly contradictory, totally true interviews with Tonya Harding and Jeff Gillooly.
Who are they? Who's Jeff Gillooly? Okay. That sounds so familiar. And also, when you said her last name, sounds so familiar.
Okay, well, that's good.
Did Family Guy talk about them?
Probably at some point.
I would guarantee it. Like every TV show out there that's going to make a reference on it is probably made a reference on it. So you got Tonya Harding. She's a former Olympic figure skater. Yeah. And then you also get Jeff Gillooly, who is Tonya Harding's ex-husband.
Mm-hmm. Oh, no.
And you see them present day, or like present day as in like couple years ago. This movie came out in like 2017. So this is like relatively recent. They've aged, but you're watching kind of like, it's almost like mockumentary style that you see them. They're getting interviewed by this like camera crew in their own houses. Tanya's probably like 40 years old at this time, almost 40. Same with Jeff Gillooly. That's a fun name to say. Gillooly.
I was just going to say it's so fun.
Gillooly. Unfortunately, that's not his real name anymore. He changed it to
Jeff.
He changed it to Jeff. What is it? Jeff Stone.
Stone,
that's dumb.
That's a boring name. Just
Gillooly is pretty recognizable after this incident. So.
Gillooly. What a bitch. Keep your name.
You know, Tonya is a former Olympian and a former figure skater.
Okay.
She's aged. She's smoking a cigarette. She's comfortable in her bed, in her kitchen.
She's comfortable in her
bed. She's done in the kitchen or bed. That's where I am. She's in her kitchen. She's smoking a cigarette. Jeff Gillooly. I think it's funny because I think the first shot is him, and you see like the boomstick, so you can tell that they're like getting ready, and he's just like, "Oh, that's too close to me." Like. It's interesting because I think it speaks levels to the idea that he seems to know how to record himself. So it's like you already kind of know that he's been in front of the limelight a little while. You also meet Tonya Harding's mother, Lavona.
Cool.
I think it's Lavana.
I think that's
Lavana Harding.
Lavana.
They have very Russian-esque names.
Well, Lavana, like that's, and it's like capital L-A, capital V-O-N-A. Yeah, like, you know, it's one of those like fancy American names. Everyone's American. Everyone is from like the middle North American aspect. So they're American through and through. Sorry, I gotta. Sorry.
Great. Yeah, and Tonya Harding's mother. Well, for one, we know Tonya Harding's played by Margot Robbie.
Margie.
And
Margie.
Tonya Harding's mother, Lavona, is played by Allison Janney, who is a boss.
She's
great.
Who is amazing. Allison Janney is amazing.
So if I watch TV, I might know.
She's in everything. Yeah. She is an absolute badass, and she's a really, really good actress. Really good at playing roles where, you know, the women are kind of like badasses, but also hard asses. So Margot Robbie is playing Tonya Harding. Allison Janney is playing her mom, Lavana. Jeff Gillooly is played by Sebastian Stan. Who I only really know because he's the Winter Soldier in the Avenger movies. Yeah, in the Marvel movies.
I don't know. Don't know what that is.
That's fair.
He's good. He's great in this movie. He is like, because he's such like man in Marvel, but here he's so interesting. He's such a He's a very complex character in this movie. Oh yeah.
So and not only is he an interesting character, I think it's safe to say that every single character in this movie is very eccentric and like memorable. Like
and
for
terrible
instance,
too.
And terrible. They're
and
all
terrible?
really garbage people.
They're all bad people.
Oh no.
Even Tonya Harding, like she's not.
But you sympathize with all the characters. And I think that's one of the things that this movie does best is that it makes you sympathize with even the crappiest of individuals. Like,
oh yeah,
that's good. I like that.
Another thing I really want to point out is Lavana, Allison Janney's character. The first scene you see with her, she's getting interviewed. I'm pretty sure she's got like a big cigarette in her mouth. and she's got a parrot on her shoulder. So she's got a pet parrot who she says is her 6th husband.
Yikes. Yikes.
She like coos to it. Like she like kind of like comforts it. Like, oh, you're my beautiful boy. You're beautiful. I love you. But then also it's just like, don't mess with me when it like nipples on her ears. Like she just switches in an instant.
Yeah. And it's funny because that's
gross.
real. Like at the end credits of this movie, we see some of these interviews in actuality, and that is a real interview with her mother, and her mother was wearing the same outfit with a parrot on her shoulder. Looks she looks uncanny.
Big fur coat, big glasses, has like an oxygen tube running out of her nose, and like the worst bowl cut I think I've ever seen.
Or the best.
Or the best. I mean, depending on your view. And
that is a precision cut, you know.
This woman would be a treat to meet.
Oh, yeah.
Nice.
Well, so we're introduced to the cast of characters pretty much kind of in through these different interviews that kind of talk a little bit about different things going on of what happened.
Like, what do they say, though? What are they saying?
I can't say. We're not going to say specific, or else
you
we're going to be here all night.
You have to, though.
No,
it's frame by
I don't
frame.
remember what they said specifically. They say a lot of funny, witty things, rough around the edges type things.
So we can confirm. So this is definitely a black comedy. It's still a drama because there are very serious things that happen, and it is like based on true events, but it's definitely a black comedy, I think, first and foremost. There's a lot of comedic aspects to it, and the way that they like kind of have that mockumentary style with real people and duplicating very similar experiences that they actually had with the real people. They make it very light and funny and comment on the darkness of the entire situation. So right off the bat, you realize that Tonya Harding, she is the 5th child from husband number 4.
Yikes.
Of her mother. So her mother has married numerous times, has had numerous kids. This is husband number 4. Is she rich?
No.
Nope. They are
really
dirt poor. They're poor.
Really? That's interesting.
Amazing. You have 4 kids, you have 5 kids, and you're not rich. Shocking.
But all those divorces.
That's probably another thing that she probably hasn't done too well with.
Right.
I think the husbands have just taken off.
What year is this?
This is in the 80s.
Okay.
So,
everything takes place like late 80s, early 90s, mostly. Yeah. But the first scene is in 1974 when Tonya is 4 years old and her mother's walking her on the ice to basically get her skating lessons.
Cute.
Yes.
Yeah.
Which is really cute. She's an adorable little girl. They have a really good little like child actress that's so adorable. Her mom takes her. Yeah, well, it is what it is.
They're more talented than I am.
A lot of them are very talented. They're going to be destined to have a really bad upbringing, probably, statistically.
They're going to need, counseling will help. Counseling will help everybody.
It's 2020. It's 2020. They'll find out. They'll be fine.
They will be okay.
So you have Allison Janney, the mom. She's taken her 4-year-old kid to the rink, and they meet Diane Rawlinson, who is a coach. She's a really prestigious coach in the area that they live in, and
which
Allison
is Portland, Oregon.
Portland,
fun.
Oregon.
I hear that's a place with hipsters in it.
Oregon,
a fun place. I want to go.
Yeah.
So she takes her into this arena, goes onto the ice, and is like, "Yo, my kid is talented as hell. You should probably train her." And Diane is like, "I don't take kids this small because she's a baby. She's 4 years old. She's a very young child." Allison Janney's character is like, "You know what, baby girl, just go skate. Enjoy yourself. You're on the ice. Go on out." And she's talking to Diane, basically being like, "I don't got a lot of money, but this kid is talented. If you don't take her on, you're an idiot." And all while she's smoking a cigarette. I feel like she's smoking the entire movie.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
She asked her to put it out, and so
yeah, she asked her to put it out, and she's like, "I'll just smoke it silently, and then keep smoking it."
Yeah,
that's awesome.
So yeah, she doesn't give a shit about what anybody says and tells her what to do. So young Tonya, 4-year-old Tonya's flying around the rink. She's a natural. You can tell that she is like a prodigy. She knows how to do things that she should know how to do at the age of 4. Diane is like, okay, fine, I'll take her on, whatever. And then you like see through like this kind of montage of her growing up, and she goes to practice, which if you're a figure skater and you're in practice, you're like going at 4:30, 5 o'clock in the morning to go practice. Which
so early.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know.
Okay.
It's the same if you're like one of those hockey players that it's like you're going to go to the
early?
NHL. Oh, it's super
really?
early.
Well,
I feel like they have to get in early to practice so that later on in the day they can use the arena for like public skating and like hockey games and actual
also
competitions.
Like practicing twice a day, so you practice early in the morning, go to school, and then practice after school. That's kind of the idea.
Okay.
Is as much practice as you can till you kill yourself.
Yeah, basically every time you don't sleep, you sleep for a very minimal amount of time. You eat, you drink, you skate. That's it.
Yeah.
Same.
And there's
a
really, again, though this is a black comedy because it's not presented in this horrifying way. And she's a little girl, she's skating, but she really has to use the washroom, and her mother is just like berating her on the ice, and her mother doesn't let her go to the washroom. And while she's skating, she just starts peeing down her leg.
Yeah, so you start to realize really quickly that the mother is not the most compassionate woman, which I think we've kind of already discovered.
Yeah.
And this is actually true as well, that there were people at the arena that she would practice at that were on record saying like, yeah, her mom was so hard on her that she'd be like, I paid for these practice lessons. You are going to get every single minute out of them. And if you have to pee, you are going to pee in your pretty little outfit and keep on skating. Because
that's crazy.
You can pee on your own time, but not on my time.
Wow. How long were these training sessions?
Oh, I don't know. Probably
a couple hours.
Yeah.
Oh, that's crazy.
And then this also starts the whole idea that everyone's an unreliable narrator, because Tonya Harding, it comes back to her interview and she talks about her mom beating her basically. And then it's like montage of her mom just slapping her on the head or pushing her off her chair and like really pretty much like beating her. But in this montagey black comedy way, like they really make abuse seem like fun. It's not fun.
Almost comical. Yeah. It's like, oh, well, she hit me. And when you think like, oh, somebody hit you, it's like they punched you in the face, but it's just like little like whaps all over here. I think there's like a specific scene where she beats the crap out of her in the arena, like in one of the back hallways with a brush or a comb. And she's like, you didn't do good enough. You didn't land that turn perfectly. God damn it. You're so talented, but you're not talented enough. Like,
yeah. And then it cuts to like an interview with Lavona, and she's like, I never hit her. And it's kind of like they both, she says she never hit her. She says she did. She probably did hit her.
Yeah. It's like, it's a lot of he said, she said, but that's where it comes back. Yeah. It's like, this whole movie is from the perspective of Tonya. And that is what we're taking.
Yeah, it's a sympathetic portrayal of Tonya Harding because she's not the most liked person out there.
No, and
so
to go
I've
back,
heard.
Yeah, like if you went back to the 90s, if you went back to like 1994 and you asked who was like one of the most hated women in America, most people would say Tonya Harding.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
I'm so interested to hear why. What the fuck?
You will find out.
You're gonna find out
what she do. But
what
also like. So I would believe though that like she was probably beat a bit. And I imagine probably like, cause back it was the 80s, right? So like I got the wooden spoon.
I guess this would technically be the 70s. At that time in the late 70s, early 80s.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I know I got the wooden spoon, but again, I feel like Catholicism and foreign parents may have carved a different childhood than the average person.
Combination.
Did we also get the wooden spoon, or was that just my parents?
So I didn't get the wooden spoon, but I know my grandmother definitely handed the wooden spoon out once or twice.
Okay. Will, no wooden spoon?
I got spanked once and my mom cried after. So
what the
I feel
fuck?
I gotta say, I feel like I had a similar experience. I don't remember ever being spanked, but I feel like if I ever did, it was very reluctantly. And I think like the one or two times I got grounded, I cried and I got out of it. So
okay, so I'll also add that again, maybe this is, I feel like it perhaps was of the times, because my mom specifically has detailed in which like her dad like beat the fuck out of her, but that was parenting.
Yeah,
at the time,
I will say,
what you gonna do about it?
What are you gonna do?
So, Lavona, Allison Janney's character, the mother, and the actual individual in actual like recorded interviews always came across as being like, I loved my child. The only time I ever like disciplined them, it was for their own good. So it was very much a similar perspective that they were like, I am doing this because I love them, not because I like hitting kids.
Yeah. It's never, and like, I mean, again, I'm not defending that type of discipline, but I am saying that like, I think the concept of that was like, this will teach you not to fucking do this dumb shit again. But her perspective of what dumb shit is a little skewed.
Yeah.
In her interview, but in the presentation of it is definitely like for no reason and for like the littlest of reasons.
Well, yeah, because like, well, if she's like training her Olympian or whatever, and like I assume the mom, again, not trying to defend, but I'm assuming this mom is like, she's broke, she's desperate. She's like, this kid might be my fucking ticket out of this fucking bullshit. So I want it to be done right.
Oh,
for
sure.
So again, it's a skewed perspective. Okay, I'm so excited to hear what the fuck happens. Okay, continue.
Yo, I got notes. I got notes on this movie. So we've met Diane. Diane is the coach. She takes Tonya on when she's like 4 years old. And we should mention, so not only do people know that she's a prodigy, but in the movie, they show 6 months later after Diane has taken Tonya on as like a really young athlete for her, but she's taken her on. 6 months later, Tonya enters into a competition and she wins first place at that competition, and she's 4 years old, and she's like beating out competition that's like 6 and 7 and 8 years old. So she's beating out kids that are twice her age. They don't know what hit them. So Tonya, as like an older individual, is like looking back on this, like, yeah, of course I was amazing.
Oh yeah,
of course.
But you also see as young Tonya, she's kind of already starting to be a bit of a tomboy. Like she's doing figure skating, but she's learning how to hunt. She's learning how to like fix cars and stuff with her dad. She's fishing. She's spending a lot of time with her dad. Well, when she's like 7 or 8 years old, her dad gets up and leaves Tonya with her shitty mom who treats her like crap.
On top of that, on that topic, there's a great line where her coach is talking to Lavona and telling her like basically that doesn't have the right presentation for figure skating. It's kind of now delving into the fact that she's like lower class in that way. And telling Lavona, well, like Tonya is like her outfits and everything.
She's not elegant
and
enough.
then it's like when she comes in smelling like she was chopping firewood, and then Lavona's like, she was chopping firewood.
Yeah, like essentially like, oh, well, your kid looks like shit because she does hard labor. And then the mom is like, she does do hard labor. We're poor. Like, duh.
And then she's like, lick my ass, Diane.
Yeah, essentially. Like the mom is just like, you want
as a retort
my kid
to this bitch picking her apart.
Yeah, because her kid doesn't look the part. She doesn't have like a fur jacket. She doesn't come from wealth. She doesn't come from prestige. She is working her way up in the world, and she's really good at skating. But because of figure skating is very much about, it's not just about skating, it's also about the image that you portray. Yeah. So they're like, well, she is poor. She's not rich. I think it's kind of similar to like, you know, horse shows and horse racing. Okay. And if you don't have a specific rich background that makes you elegant and prestigious, that you are not worth the land that you walk on, which is bullshit.
Rude. Yeah. Also very difficult for somebody that like, I guess it's that equal opportunity thing where it's like somebody is like super skilled and like the best, but they can't adequately present themselves because they just can't afford to like buy fucking whatever clothes. And like, and then that's really dumb. What a rude trainer. So what the fuck happens? Does she slice her face open with a skate? Just like,
no. She still stays like, basically Diane trains her right up until she's like 16 or 17. But at 15 is when she meets Jeff Gillooly, who is 18. And they start dating. They knew each other
for a long time.
Oh, yeah. So there's like a 3-year difference between the two, but they meet, at least in the movie, I think that they meet through the arena. Like, I don't know.
Yeah,
does
he's
he
at
see
the
her?
rink and she's skating. Yeah.
And he sees her with Sean. Oh, we should talk about Sean.
So yeah, she meets Jeff Gillooly when she's 15 and they start dating. But it's the scene in the rink and we see Jeff's friend, Sean Eckert.
Ooh. Yeah, Sean Eckert, sorry.
And he's played by he's played by Paul Walter
Paul Giamatti.
Hauser. No,
Shout out to Daniel Brenneman.
Paul Walter Hauser.
Yeah, and he is amazing in this movie.
Name.
Sean Eckert is like the classic overweight basement dweller guy.
Lives with his parents.
Yeah.
Okay.
Who is basically the master of all. Yeah. Basically, he doesn't have a neckbeard in this movie, but that's what you would call this kind of guy. But he plays him so well. And they show interviews of him, but his interviews are different. His interviews are like police interviews as well as like a 60 Minutes kind of type interview.
Whoa.
That's with the actor, but because this guy was interviewed on television, because this guy was Tonya Harding's bodyguard through most of this, or quote unquote bodyguard.
Yeah, quote unquote bodyguard. Like, how much did he actually guard?
He was a basement dweller and he had the capabilities of being a bodyguard.
Well, he was a very big guy. He's a big guy.
Okay, can we just for a second talk about how because you're big does not make you adequate security for a human being?
No, it does not. And this was not adequate security for anything.
Oh my God.
Welcome to the 80s and 90s, though.
They just see him on the street, they're like, hey man, you want to protect this thing? Okay, great.
So
that's what they called him. Like, that's what his role was on their like entourage. But yeah, we will get to more of his role, but he is really hilarious, and he's always talking about how he's like got connections to like hitmen, and he's like a secret spy, and he's got all
he works on counter-terrorism.
Yeah,
you know,
me too.
He is delusional to the max, but thankfully he doesn't live anymore.
Whoa, come on.
He died in 2007.
We need people like that to keep life fresh.
He also
appreciate you basement
he speaks
dwellers.
like in a very monotone voice. Like when you listen to him, you're like, how much do you actually know about anything?
Oh, fun.
But he's a real treat in this movie. He's great.
Yeah.
So yeah, you meet Jeff and you meet Sean.
And Jeff, as mentioned in his like present time interview, talks about an unfortunate mustache, because throughout the whole movie in his younger days, he's got just like a pencil thin mustache throughout like the whole movie. Yeah, and Yet in his present day interview, he's got just like a soul patch or just kind of like
an unfortunate soul patch.
Yeah.
It's like
he
the
has
same
issues with
hair,
facial
it's just
hair.
moved.
Yeah.
He's just going through some stuff. He's finding himself through his facial hair.
Oh, he
Taking
goes
a
through
lot
some
of time.
stuff, and he puts people through some stuff in this movie. But
yeah,
we'll get to
it. Just get to it.
I mean, you realize pretty quickly that Jeff has come from kind of a similar background. Like, I think his dad died. He was in the Air Force, and he died when he was pretty young. Left him like enough money to go to college because he was a veteran. But Jeff has grown up in a poor household as well. So they kind of already find a connection that way because they're both poor, they're down on their luck, and they've had not the best parenting experience.
Yeah.
Growing up.
And this is also where you kind of get what the movie breaks the fourth wall a lot, and
Fun.
because as they get together, it's also revealed that he's very abusive, and it's just kind of a montage of scenes where he's like hitting her in the head and like slamming her into a wall and other things.
Slamming her into like
Tonya?
a mirror. Yeah, like you see scenes where he like smashes her head into a mirror.
And then she talks to the camera and she's like, it's a great life when someone's like beating your ass or something. Like she like looks at the camera. So they break the fourth wall a lot in this movie, which is another one of those kind of like unreliable narrator tactics, and kind of just like when they break the fourth wall, it's like, okay, is this real or is this like a made up memory
Are
type
you catering to who you're
Mm-hmm.
telling?
And like they also they focus a lot on Tonya Harding's perspective of like she's already been abused by her mom a crap ton. Now she's in a relationship with a guy that beats up on her, so like she's just kind of accepted that she deserves to get the shit kicked out of her all the time.
That's what she's used to.
Mm-hmm.
She's used to it. She expects that it's her fault. Even when she does something amazing, it's still her fault. So she is kind of in this cycle of being in relationships with people that treat her like crap.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
That's upsetting.
And then she goes to a competition, a pretty big like U.S. figure skating competition, and she basically outskates everyone, but she skates to a ZZ Top song, and it's kind of the first sequence.
Is that jazz?
So you like jazz?
You know the three big like gray bearded dudes who are rock stars? That band?
What? No.
They got like big long gray beards. ZZ Top. You've never.
No.
Wow. Haven't heard it. Haven't
heard it. I don't. Can you do a song?
Dressed
man. Yeah. They're rock band. And back in the day,
maybe know it.
Before Tessa Virtue and what's his face?
Scott Moyer.
I need to start watching the Olympics, I think.
Yeah, but back then, like in figure skating, you either like danced to classical music or like really soft pop
romantic
music. Yeah,
okay.
like you wanted to paint a scene of beauty and elegance and strength. But this is the other thing, is like figure skating was all about elegance, but you weren't supposed to be necessarily athletic. And Tonya Harding was very athletic, very capable,
very muscular,
but very muscular and very masculine. And she came from a background where she knew how to chop wood, she knew how to hunt, she knew how to fix cars, and she was labeled as a tomboy. Whereas in figure skating, white trash, apparently she like self-described herself as trailer trash and just being a redneck. But really, it was just that she was poor. She didn't have the same upbringing. She earned everything she got.
Well, that's what she would have been labeled as, and that's just what she accepted.
And that's what she accepted. Whereas like everyone else in the community that she was surrounded by were rich. They were very feminine and soft-spoken, very demure type women that don't speak their mind. They take criticism and they adjust and they make it better. And she was the type of person that she got criticism and she was like, suck my dick.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
And she literally, she says this in the movie, which is great. She like goes up to the judges at one point. And she's like, suck my dick. This competition is rigged. And it's like, I get that. Like, as a feminist, I totally get that. But also I'm like, it's a different playing field.
She was probably like fed up though. Like she could she could probably recognize that she was the most talented person in the room and she wasn't getting what she deserved.
Yeah, and it was because she wasn't getting like,
and she went through so much bullshit.
Outfits.
Yeah.
Like,
and like Tonya, she was making her own outfits.
Tonya was the type of person. She was like,
skill.
She and her mom were making her own outfits, and because they weren't like designer made and like diamond encrusted, she got points deducted on her because they weren't professionally made, because she didn't have the money to spend thousands of dollars on an outfit because she was already putting all the money she had into practice.
Yeah, so she's not winning at like competitions because of her white trash label and the fact that she wants to dance to or skate to like hard rock music. And then she's in this abusive relationship, and then her mother and her have a confrontation where she blames her mother for it because her mother abused her. Yeah. And they're screaming at each other at the dinner table, and they're yelling at each other, and Laverna like is like throwing things on the ground, and she picks up a steak knife and throws it at Tonya, and then it just hits her in her arm.
Oh,
it just like sticks there, and they look down, and it's a very like just silent scene, and she pulls it out, slams on the table, and then basically moves out of her mom's house and moves in with Jeff. Yeah.
That's like, whoa, no, but she moves in with Jeff. Fuck. That's like, man, that would be a really fucked scene, because it's just like, and you proved my fucking point. See you later.
Yeah. So they're setting up this story to make you realize that she's already in a crappy situation. She's really talented, but she doesn't have the support around her that she needs.
Yeah. So after yet again, she's got a better outfit. She's dancing to more classical music. Or skating to more classical music, but she still doesn't get the scores, and she's according to her outskated everyone. This is when she comes up to the judges and is just like, what's wrong? When are you going to give me the scores that I deserve? When are you going to, like, this is all bullshit, suck my dick.
Suck my dick.
And Diane and her have a confrontation, and Diane is just like, you have to play the game, you can't be who you are like that.
You have to do better, you have to look better.
Yeah, so basically on this, Tonya fires her on the spot.
Yeah, she like throws a skate at her. It doesn't hit her, but like she throws it at her direction and is basically like, you're fired.
Yeah.
Get out of here.
How old is she at this point?
I would say probably late teens, early 20s.
Okay. Yeah, she's probably 17, 18 at this point.
She's married to Jeff, or they're just dating?
Yeah. Not yet. They're not married yet.
No.
Okay, but they're living together. Okay.
But interesting that you say that, because literally like right after this scene, it shows her getting married to Jeff.
Yeah, they get married.
No.
And like they get married.
Yeah.
They get married in a really shitty like rec center, like maybe the bottom of a church. Yeah. Like they don't have any money. She's in like a really basic 80s dress. She gets married. Her mom's there.
There's a great cut to Sean crying at the at the ceremony.
Forgot about that.
Can you mimic it, Will?
He's like it's just like because he has a very stoic face. Like this actor's really good at doing stoic kind of monotone voices, but he's so good. But he's just kind of like wiping his eyes.
Have you guys seen Breaking Bad or Better Call Saul?
Oh yeah.
So you guys know,
I've seen Breaking Bad, but not Better Call Saul.
Okay, so you know Mike?
Yeah.
Yeah, like I just imagine this stoic guy just like really hard ass, and he's just like,
oh, he's not hard ass. This guy's not hard ass.
Oh no, he is. Okay. He's soft as hell.
Yeah, he's like he's somehow perfected.
Literally,
unless this actor actually has this, because I haven't seen Richard Jewell, which he stars in, but this actor in this movie definitely perfected like the constantly cross-eyed the whole movie sort of thing.
Oh god damn.
He kind of is like almost the whole movie.
Oh no, like, don't. Yikes.
So yeah. Anyway, they get married. I know there's a scene where you see like she's in her wedding dress and she's in like a back hall of the Legion with her mom, who's like getting coffee or something from one of those shitty dispensers. And essentially her mom is just like, wow, well, you fuck Dom, you don't marry Dom. And essentially says that she doesn't approve of the marriage because she knows that Jeff is a piece of crap. And shits all over Tonya's wedding for what it is. Even though it's not like the best wedding.
Even though she's had like 7 husbands.
Yeah, at that point she's married several times and she still has something to say about it. So that kind of speaks more on her than it does Tonya.
Also, Janie portrays the confidence of someone like who knows everything, who clearly is like doesn't know anything, is the worst person.
Yeah.
So cut to the next scene, which you see one of those title cards come up and it says 1991 Nationals in Minneapolis, Minnesota. And this is a very famous Minnesota.
And at this point now, Tonya has hired a new coach, whose name is Dodie Teachman.
Stop it. Is that really their last name?
Yeah.
No,
that's the real person. Teachman. Right?
Teachman.
Yeah, Teachman.
And she teaches men.
Humans. That's amazing.
Teach the women's. Yeah.
Crime.
So she has a new coach. I just remembered this scene. It starts off with Tonya and she's talking to her new coach. And you hear in the background, there's like this heckler who's just saying like, boo, you suck. Tonya sucks. You're
white
redneck.
trash, Tonya.
Yeah. Which is just unreal because it's like, why is this guy?
In figure skating.
Why is there a heckler at friggin' figure skating competitions? Anyway.
Yeah. And the big thing about what she's about to do is that they've been practicing, and this is where she's going to attempt the triple Axel.
Yes.
Which is what?
The movie's very good at descripting it and also showing like a slow-mo version of what it should look like. So
did What's-Her-Nuts learn how to figure skate for this movie?
No.
She had a double.
That is one thing. In the very first figure skate sequence, the CG is a little obvious. It's
a little
obvious.
shoddy.
So the triple axel is basically like you have to launch off the certain foot, do I think it's 3 rotations, and then land on the opposite
in the
foot.
air.
In the
3
air,
rotations in the air.
Yeah, and then land on the opposite foot, which means another half rotation just to land. And that's what they talk about. It's like it's that extra half rotation that can fuck people up. Like a lot of people can do, just because it's just so much more extra rotation.
Yeah, it's a little bit more momentum that you need to be able to have, and a lot of people can't get it because of their stature, their size. So
what happens when they land? They just are still.
No,
they continue going. They like keep going. A lot of people, if they can't make it, then they end up falling because they don't have their balance quite right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So some people can do it, but not be able to do it and then keep skating.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
A lot of people can do it and then fall, but that's not not impressive.
That's not.
I mean, no one wants to see
I
you fall.
can do that. I can fucking do that. I'll fall every day. I'll show you.
That's what she's attempting at this Minnesota competition.
Minnesota. So yeah, she's at this. She nails it. Everyone's on their feet in the stands. People
just
are
before
amazed.
she nails it though, that heckler, we cut to the heckler sitting back down, and right behind him, Lavorna is there, passes him money. She paid him to heckle her.
Are you serious?
Who knows if that actually happened? But the fact that it's in the movie just makes that character so much more
I think the idea is that either it's like emotional abuse, but also that's her way of motivating Tonya. Is like,
that's her way of motivating her. Is like get a heckler to say she can't.
Yeah.
Tell them that they can't, and then when they can, they'll be so much stronger after it.
Exactly.
That is Lavana's way of going. So she lands the triple axel. She gets 5.9 across the boards, which is like almost perfect score. After she lands the triple axel, they take her back to her life. She goes back to Jeff. Shit starts to hit the fan. Jeff starts beating her essentially every single night for any reason. She leaves him, is doing well in competition. She talks briefly about how she and Nancy Kerrigan, who you're going to know soon.
You're going to meet.
Sure.
Well, we don't really meet her, but you know.
We don't really,
know her.
You don't really talk about Nancy Kerrigan at all during the movie, but Nancy Kerrigan is a very important person you need to know because of later on in the movie. Right off the bat, Tonya, numerous times in the movie, she's like, let me just say one thing.
Can I just say one thing? Like she stops the interview.
And
that's fun.
They make it, they edit it so that it seems like it's interrupting the flow of the story, which I think is really indicative of the type of relationship that she has with Nancy. So she's like, let me just say one thing about Nancy. We were friends. We would drink and party and smoke while we were on the road in competitions. So while they're going in competitions and they're going from road to road, they're traveling on the road from competition to competition. And she's like, we were friends while we were in hotels and like hostels and all that. We were drinking, we were partying, we were best
Smoking
of friends.
weed.
Yeah, you know. You're just having a good time.
Yeah.
But they portray Tonya as this kind of white trash, like low class person, but Nancy Kerrigan as the highest of the high.
She's like a princess.
Princess figure skater.
But she's also just the same.
Well, they had their friends and they did just the same things. She might not have been poor, but they partied and did the exact same.
So they're
like
the
the same people. Yeah.
So eventually,
so she says, like, can I say one thing about Nancy Kerrigan? And then we cut to kind of like a television video of Nancy like screaming in pain, and then it cuts back out, and you'll find out why later because you don't know anything about this story. But if you already know the story, then you know exactly what that is.
I have no fucking clue.
They
goddamn
do
clue.
The way that they edit this movie is really good because it's kind of chronological. So if you don't know anything about what's going to happen, you're kind of just like, why is there suddenly this scene about a woman crying and screaming in pain? And why are they talking about this incident? So after she kind of claims, she's like, by the way, me and Nancy were BFFs. Like the media painted us as rivals. That wasn't true. Then you get to seeing that her and Jeff aren't great. They're not doing great. They're fighting a lot. Tonya ends up getting a restraining order against Jeff.
Yeah,
because he's abusing her. He's treating her like crap. She's just like, no, I can't deal with this. I'm putting restraining orders against you. No, they get back together.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
How? With a restraining order?
Yeah. So the Olympics are coming up in
upset.
1992. 1992 is the year. So she did the triple Axel in 1991.
Okay. And she's like how old?
She is
in her 20s? 30s? No.
She was born in 1970. So in 1991 she was 21 years old.
Okay.
So at 21 she accomplished the triple Axel. Now it is the 1992 Olympics are coming up. They are in Albertville, France. And she wants to go. She's like, I'm a great figure skater. I'm going to go to the Olympics. So she is back in a relationship with Jeff. She is training for the Olympics. She goes to the Olympics. So this is the thing you need to know about Tonya. She actually competes in 2 Olympics because there was one in 1992. And then they started, I think at that point, they started to do every 2 years it was the winter and every 2 years there was the summer. Before that, it was every year it was the same. So in 1992, there was the first Olympics. She decides that she's going to go and she's going to be the first woman to ever attempt a triple Axel and succeed at it at the Olympics. No one has ever attempted to do it, let alone a woman do it. Like, it's a big deal.
She tries the first to do U.S. woman to do it in the Olympics. Yeah.
Yeah. She falls. She doesn't do it.
Okay.
She fails.
Ouch.
She blames her skates because the
not
bottom
sharp
of the
enough.
skates. It was, I think she said that like a couple days before her skates broke and they had to replace her skate blades onto her skates. And because they weren't properly fixed. She wasn't able to do the triple axel. She falls. She comes in 4th place. Nancy Kerrigan comes in 3rd place. So she gets a medal. Tonya doesn't. Tonya claims she doesn't care. It's just, it is what it is. But regardless, the media goes like crazy, and they're like, "Oh well, Nancy just beat out Tonya." Dip, 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 dip. Anyway, yep.
Sorry. And then Tonya basically like leaves skating at that point. She goes home, and she's back with Jeff, and becomes basically a waitress at a restaurant.
What? Why?
Yep, she's back with Jeff.
But why does she quit skating?
She doesn't entirely quit it, but she just enjoys her time at home with Jeff. Mm-hmm. She's like, I've accomplished a great thing. Like, nobody else has ever done this before. I'm in a good position. I'm living comfortably. I have someone that loves me. Even though they treat me like shit, I have someone that loves me.
She thinks.
So anyway, they have a big fight. They both beat the crap out of each other. Police get called. More restraining orders happen. Tonya and Jeff divorce. They get back together. They go.
What the fuck?
They're off and on.
Yeah, they're off
abusive.
and on the whole way. It's a very dysfunctional relationship. And then it escalates to the point where they get in a fight and Jeff pulls a gun on her. So they finally divorce. However, later on, after the divorce happens, excuse me, I'm so sorry. Did I mention that I'm really fucking drunk?
Hey,
don't worry, I think
boy.
it's great. It's perfect.
Okay.
So
they get divorced. Jeff shows up at her new place. So she's in a place by herself. He basically breaks in, like she tries to lock him out and he smashes down the door, has a pistol, points it at her and is like, I love you. Love me back.
And then he points at himself.
Then he points it at himself and is like, I'm going to kill myself. I hate my life. You want. And essentially turns it into a negotiation. This all is very up into interpretation because according to the interviews, Tonya says it happens. Jeff says it doesn't happen. She ends up running away from him at a certain point. He shoots at her and actually grazes her forehead. She starts to bleed, but she's fine. She's just like hit by the bullet. Mm-hmm. He essentially kidnaps her, puts her into her car, and is like, everything's okay. I'm going to put you in the passenger seat. Like, I don't know if he intends to take her to the hospital or what, but it's like, it's okay. I love you. And then he gets pulled over by the police because he's swerving because he's hammered.
Yeah.
Okay.
Police pull him over. Can see that she's bleeding in the passenger seat, takes him out of the car, talks to him and is like, what happened? And he can talk his way out of anything.
Yeah, she turns to the camera at this point and is like, Jeff can talk his way out of anything. And so that's kind of assumed like he's a very good liar, very good smooth talker.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Well, with the mustache
it's always
like
referenced that he never has any game.
Yeah, he's like a loser, but he knows how to talk himself out of a situation.
Trouble, yeah.
Okay.
So, despite the fact that the cops find a pistol, a shotgun, and a bunch of alcohol containers in his back seat, they let him go. Nice. With her in the passenger seat. You know, A+ police work there. After that scene, you see her. She's having a smoke. She's working she's working as a waitress at a restaurant. She's having a smoke outside, and then that's when Diane saunters in and is like, "Yo, you're awesome. We need you back."
Yeah,
yeah.
Because then they're announcing like the Olympics aren't in 4 years anymore; they're in 2 years. The next Winter Olympics in 2 years, so we need to train you.
Yeah, like you can do this. Yeah. And it's essentially like a second chance for her. I think the coach at one point says like, hey, I believe in second chances. You might not. But I think this is a second chance for you because the Olympics are happening sooner rather than later. And that might mean everything for you.
Yeah.
So she hires Diane back. They start to train. Cue the Rocky montage.
Stop.
Yeah, they basically have a Rocky montage. She's like working with like rice packets on her.
Yeah, she is.
Let me preface with I've never watched Rocky, but I know the thing.
Yeah, she's like she's gained weight. She's gotten lazy. So Diane is like, we're going to get you back in shape. And I love this part of the movie because the actress that plays Diane is like, this actually happened. Like, she's working her butt off. She's losing all this weight. She's training to be an Olympian again. She feels like she's lost everything. And she's getting back into the Olympics 2 years later.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a very like inspirational moment.
Yeah.
But, and this is the part that you were talking about earlier, Will, with the car, the guy in the car.
Oh yeah. So like she continues to get some shitty scores from judges, and she approaches a judge in like a parking garage. And it's just like, why? Like, why are you
in a
giving me shitty
parking
scores? I'm out
garage,
skating.
scary.
Yeah, I'm out
She
skating.
might beat
everyone.
them.
Is it a
And
parking garage?
with a
I think it might be
baseball
outside,
bat.
but he's definitely
It's outside.
in a
It
car.
looks like a car.
And
It's
he's in a
after
car.
hours.
He's in the car. Yeah.
Yeah, she's like
And-
trapped him in his car.
Yeah, and he's just like,
oh no.
he's just like, I'll deny it to the grave, but it's not just about the skating, Tonya. It's about the presentation and what you're representing when you go to the Olympics, like when you're representing the U.S. skate team. You're just not who we want to put out there, which kind of prompts her, because she says, like, why can't it just be about the skating? Yeah, she like takes her skate, fucking slice his neck. There's a rampage.
Are you serious?
No,
doesn't.
that doesn't happen.
Oh. You guys cannot lie. You cannot lie. Because I believe it.
Okay,
That's
what
not
actually
what happens.
I actually
Fuck
wrote
you,
this
Will.
as an exact
Fuck you.
quote.
Oh, right.
What he said to her was that they needed a wholesome American family, which essentially cued a mommy dearest moment between her and her mom, because her mom, she was basically like, Mom, I need you to get into the Olympics, because if I don't have a wholesome family, then I can't get in. So she reaches out to her and she reaches out to Jeff.
Oh,
Yeah.
man.
Who we both know, both these people treat her like crap.
Yeah.
And
But for
during
her,
this
it's
scene,
just for the training and just to the Olympics, and then she's going to dump them.
and then she'll dump them. And it's
Yeah.
really
Fuck it,
shitty because
man.
in this scene that she's talking to her mom and basically being like, I need you to get to the Olympics. Like, did you ever love me? Her mom basically says no. Like, Tonya straight up is like, did you ever love me? And her mom just skirts around the whole question and basically doesn't give her an answer, which I take as a no.
Yeah.
So
I'm
once
sure
again,
she's just an emotionally dismissive person.
she's
Not
pretty,
defending.
Yeah.
yeah, she's
Makes you
she's
wonder,
shit.
though, what the fuck did she go through?
Oh, probably tons
But
of
for
She
real,
has
and
shit.
also with like
the
Jeff
trauma.
again, like not defending, but what the fuck did they go through for them to behave that way?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That should be another movie. They should have two sequels.
The Jeff Galooly story.
The
Ooh,
Jeff
I would like to know.
Galooly story.
I'd like to know.
Jeff Galooly.
To pull a gun on another person, like what
And then put it on
happened?
yourself, and then shoot, and then regret
But
shooting.
who's to say
That's-
that ever
it is
happened?
traumatic.
Because that's
That's
the
true.
thing.
Bizarre.
You
That's
don't know
this
if
whole
that
movie,
ever
you don't know.
happened.
Yeah.
This
yeah.
is
Right.
just according to Tonya. Jeff says it
Yeah.
never happened. Tonya says it
Interesting.
did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
There's
So
a
what
great-
happened
there's
to
also a great
her?
moment. Well, so the great moment that, like, just before she like gets Jeff back on board, they're like having an argument over the phone where she keeps hanging up on him about the extreme. He's arguing about the restraining order. He's staying at like Sean's place with Sean's parents.
Oh
And
no.
she keeps hanging up on him, and then she's like, he's like, Mrs. Eckhart. And then Sean's like, Mom, dial it again. Because it's like, they're on like a really long phone cord. And she dials the number again. And then she keeps hanging up. And they keep yelling up at Sean's mom. And then she's training for her competition. And
Tonya, every time he calls, Tanya's just like, fuck you. Hangs up. Can you call again? Fuck you. Hangs up.
Doesn't she want to remedy? Does she not want to remedy this relationship?
But I thought crap.
Yeah.
Yes, I understand. But does she not want the image?
Well, this is kind of this is leading.
She
up
called
to that.
him,
So then,
right?
No. So their phone, not yet. So then this happens, but then so he's in. I think he's in Portland, Oregon. She's in like the Northwest training for this competition she's doing, like a qualifier. Yeah. So he's like, I'm just going to go to her. And they drive like halfway across the country. Like it's a montage of Sean, like talking him up and like telling him like, yeah, this is what you should say to her. This is what you should do. And they're like driving in a car like all night. And they get to the arena where she's practicing. And he just like walks to the top of the stands and she's down on the ice. And he goes, hey, Tonya, no, fuck you. Because he's like, I want to get the last word.
What a piece of shit.
And then she kind of looks up and then she has this smile on her face. It's like she likes that part of him.
Yeah, she's like, oh, he does care. Which is so mental.
No, there was literally just something eating inside of him that he was like, this bitch keeps hanging up on me. I don't get to say what I want to say. And this is why I'm going to see her.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It's totally a power move. It's like the way that the movie shows it is that like she's kind of sympathetic towards it, but you really know that it's just like, no, that's just manipulation. This guy's a piece of shit.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, not even like it isn't even. It's weird because to me that isn't initially perceived as manipulation. It's literally, I think it's again her skewed reality of the situation is like, oh, he came for me. And it's like, yeah, to fucking tell you off.
Yeah.
Like, he's just fluffing his own ego. That's what he's doing.
But then, so this is when they get back together. So she has the whole kind of family image thing. But she's about to. So she's about to do this competition. It's kind of like a qualifier, and it's a further thing to get her onto the Olympic team for the '94 Olympics. And a police or security guy or a police officer shows up and it says like, "There's actually been a death threat against you. The death threat is if you go on the ice, if Tonya Harding goes on the ice, there'll be 4 shots in her back."
Cue the incident. Yeah, that's the thing. I love this part about the movie is every single person that's interviewed refers to it as the incident.
Yeah.
So cool.
Okay, yeah. So what's about to happen is the moment that every single person that should have been alive during that time basically knew about.
Yeah, same.
And the reason why there's a movie about Tonya Harding.
And before we talk about the incident, I want to talk about the fact that Margot Robbie, when she saw the script of this movie, she thought that this was a work of fiction. She didn't know that this actually happened, which is fair because she was born in 1990 in Australia. So like she doesn't need to know this. The incident happened in 1993.
94.
Was it 93?
I was just being born then, so it makes sense why I didn't know.
So like, you know, all of us were like 1 or 2 years old, like
or not born.
We weren't alive enough to know what happened, but like I know I heard about it years later.
Sure, same, me too. I know.
But she didn't know. She had no idea what's about to happen.
Interesting.
So she thought that this was a work of fiction. So
this death threat so basically Tonya Harding decides she's not going to skate in the competition because she could get killed. She's not sure if this is credible, which means that it fucks up slightly her chances of getting onto the Olympic team because she's kind of disqualified from the event because she's not skating. This implants the idea into Jeff's head that, he can do the same thing to her competition to help Tonya. So he can send death threats to her competition so that they get disqualified and Tonya can move up on the ladder a little bit. Okay. So he he talks to Sean because Sean, as we said, throughout the whole movie, is always talking about he does CIA operations. He is a covert ops guy. He's guys
a bodyguard.
Everywhere. Yeah, he's got all this stuff. So he tells Sean, he's like, you need to send death threats to Nancy Kerrigan, Nancy Kerrigan's training so that she doesn't compete.
Yeah,
so that Tonya can get on the Olympic team.
Tonya needs to be at the top, so you need to take out the competition. So he hires these two guys.
Sean does, yeah.
Yeah. So Sean's guys are Derek Smith and Shane Stant, who are both idiots. And apparently Derek is Shane's uncle, I think.
Yeah.
So
their uncle and nephew.
Yeah. So anyway, they're like, okay, if you want us to send a death threat to your biggest competition, Nancy, we're going to need her training schedule. So they get Tonya in on it and is like, can you find Nancy's training schedule of where she'll be and what time she'll be there? So we can like make sure she gets the information and it doesn't go to anybody else.
Yeah. So Tonya gets a phone, like they get a phone. She's on the phone with someone, or sorry, Jeff is on the phone with like a friend or someone that Tonya knows. But it was like a weird connection. So he's trying to figure out what she said. Like it was like the Tuna Fish Stadium. Like he didn't know what the stadium was called. So Tonya phones her back and just like, hey, and like gets the information again properly. And then she writes it down. And that's kind of like one of the bits of evidence, like the real evidence they have of Tonya Harding's handwriting.
Yeah, they can see that they tracked that call.
And the schedule of Nancy's skating schedule in her
Nancy,
like that's kind
I think Tonya like wrote down her schedule, so they found like a piece of paper that showed that Tanya's writing showed exactly where Nancy's schedule was. So they're like,
they kind of cut to it like evidence, and I think it's probably the real note that they cut to, and it's like
either that or it's like a really good replication.
Yeah.
So. You see that Tonya has basically given them all the information that they need to find Nancy. Jeff.
Well, so Sean keeps coming back to Jeff and being like, my guys need like $5,000 more dollars.
Yeah, they need
like,
money.
He needs
they
more
need money.
What the
They need like $1,000.
Yeah, they're at the rink and they're arguing, and then like Tonya and like Jeff is like, Tonya, it's off. We're not doing it anymore. And Tonya at this point doesn't care. She's just training. She's like, I don't care who the fuck. And then she berates Sean for being like a loser because Sean is just like, no, it's true. These are my guys. I got to do this. And then she just like berates him, and he's like looking all stoic but slightly angry in his very like expressionless face.
Yeah, she basically calls him out for being like a loser that lives at his home with his parents and is fat and like stupid and doesn't know how to do anything. She totally tears him a new one. Anyway, Sean is like, give me $1,000 to Jeff and I'll get this done.
And now at this point, again, in this portrayal, Jeff and Tonya are at the understanding that this is all written note death threats. And the idea is that these guys are going to mail them to Nancy Kerrigan from a different state. They're in a different state so that it doesn't trace back to them in Portland. They're going to mail these notes. And that's what the money is for, is just for mailing these notes. But because
Cue. Next moment, you see the black screen. You see a cue card. It says 1994 Detroit Nationals. It's January 6th. It's at a practice session. And you see one of Sean's guy, it's Shane and Derek.
Yeah, they pull up in a car.
Shane gets out. He's like freaking out. He's walking through the arena, like
nervous as fuck. Walking through the back hallways, and then he goes to the arena and he sees a bunch of people skating. He talks to like a guy in the stand, is like, yo, which one is Nancy Kerrigan? Which is like, how more obvious can you be? He's like, yo, which one's Nancy Kerrigan?
And the guy is like, oh, that person, conveniently the person coming off of the ice right at that moment. She goes back into the hallway. He follows her and just, you can tell he's got something in his hand.
Yeah, he pulls out like a police baton type thing.
What?
Yeah.
A telescopic baton.
Yeah. Pulls out a baton. It extends. It's big. It's threatening. He's walking up on Nancy, who's in the back alley all by herself, whacks her on her upper right thigh, and just keeps on walking. She falls down. She's screaming in pain. She's like, why? Why me? Why have I broken my knee? And he just books it out of the arena. He like falls over people. He like runs into people. He comes up to a doorway that's locked and he can't get out. So he smashes the window with his head.
With his fucking head.
What the fuck?
That's right. He has this baton thing, but then he's just like, he just smashes it with his head and then runs out.
Yeah, that makes sense.
He is so stupid. He doesn't know what to do with himself. He smashes the window with his head. He gets out of the door. He runs into another person. He gets into the getaway car. Which
he like purposely tackles this person, which it's a weird scene because it makes you think, oh, that must have really happened, because the way they do it, it's very specific. He just kind of like runs into him, but he's like tackling him at the same time, and then gets up and runs into and he jumps into the car, car.
Yeah, he jumps into a getaway car with this guy named Derek, his uncle, and they take off. And he's just done it. He's attacked Nancy Kerrigan. Made her basically incompatible. No, what's the word?
What's the word?
She can't skate.
She's
injured.
She can't skate in the competition the next day.
If you look up a Nancy Kerrigan attack, you can see like moments after this happened, she's just like screaming. She's like, why me? Why me? Like, why would he do this? And just like, it's a very iconic moment of like, why me? But she's obviously distraught. She's just been attacked. He attacked her legs, and figure skaters have very important
legs. They need them legs.
Yeah.
They need them legs.
Need them.
Oh, yeah. And so they're all now, and then suddenly they're all watching it on TV. Like Tonya is, Jeff is, and Lavorna are watching it all like separately, and like Lavorna is just like, "What's it, fucking mustache?" That's what she says when she sees it on TV.
She knows right away.
Yeah, she knows that he fucking did something, and like they're just so basically they're now in crisis mode. They're like trying to get their stories straight. At this point, the two guys haven't been caught yet.
Yeah. Okay. So they've escaped the scene. News reporters come in. They start reporting on it. It starts to blow up nationwide. Like, who attacked this figure skater who's meant for the Olympics? Like, at this point, she's already destined to be in the Olympics. So they know that somebody's attacked an Olympic skater. Cut to like a scene where you've seen like Shane and Jeff and Tonya all separately, like seeing the scene of the reporters. Like, what's happening? Jeff and Tonya are both like, it was just supposed to be a death threat. Like, what the fuck happened? Essentially, they're idiots. Shane is an idiot. Sean is an idiot. Shane's an idiot too. Yeah. Sean is an idiot. They basically broke her kneecaps.
Yeah.
As they do.
And then Sean's an idiot because he is like a big bragger. He's like talking to, it shows a compilation of him talking to all these different people, being like, yeah, those are my guys, and yeah, I did this, and yeah, I paid them off to do that.
Idiot.
Yeah, you get Sean in like all these different scenes. Like, he's at a bar, he's at a friend's house, he's at like a coffee shop, he's just at a children's daycare center.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Which leads the FBI to like first find what's his face? What's his name?
Nice. I like that.
Jeff.
No.
What?
No, the guy who hit Nancy. They arrest that.
Oh,
they find him.
Oh, Shane.
Shane, yeah.
Yeah.
They find
so
Shane.
They arrest him.
Yeah, yeah. And then after the montage of him telling all these people, they knock on his door, Sean Eckart's door, and open it up, and they're like, Sean Eckart, and then basically he's just like, it was Jeff Galooly. He like breaks immediately, like he does it.
He's
like
weak
he blames
AF.
Jeff. Yeah.
Yeah.
Says that it was all Jeff's idea to do this. And so they're all being interviewed about who did what.
There is a scene where Sean, aka the fat fuck who needs to deal with his own stupidity.
This body shaming. We don't body shame on this podcast.
We don't, but if you're a fat fuck,
unless it's Sean Eckert,
get your shit together.
Okay, so Sean, who is neither skinny nor fat,
well,
he contacts Jeff and is like, we need to meet.
Mm-hmm.
I deserve more money for this whole situation. I will meet you at midnight sharp at a Chinese restaurant. So
excuse me, Mr. Eckert
is there the whole time while he's phoning Jeff.
Oh, okay, never mind.
Yeah.
I was going to say, excuse me, sir, you fucked it up yourself. That was not the plan.
Yeah.
We are very aware of that fact.
Wow. Okay.
Most intellectual people watching this movie will be like, yo.
Yeah. But he's in cahoots.
So, he's in cahoots, and Sean is like, meet me at this place at this hour. We're going to figure out how to deal with the situation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jeff
so he
goes.
shows up at the restaurant with Jeff, and Sean is asking very specific questions about the incident, trying to elicit Jeff to admit that he knew all about it, because Sean is wearing a wire because the FBI is trying to get evidence on Jeff.
I've watched Breaking Bad.
We assume he's wearing a wire.
Yeah,
it's not explicitly shown, but Jeff, like, he gets the hint because Sean's not what's the word? He's not
he's dumb as shit.
He's not proving that he's done anything wrong, but you can tell by the way he's speaking that he's trying to get Jeff to admit something.
He's not a smooth talker.
Yeah. Jeff like picks up on this, yeah?
Yes.
Yeah, Jeff picks up on this. He essentially starts being like, are you admitting any wrongdoing in this situation? And then like pulls him close, whispers in his ear so no mic could take it up, and basically is like, I'm gonna beat the shit out of you if you try to put me in a position where I'm the bad guy.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Bitch. Yes.
Meanwhile, because all this shit's going on and Tonya just wants to get the fuck out of it, she actually goes to the FBI and says it was all Jeff and Sean's fault. It was all their wrongdoing.
Yeah.
And the FBI, again, there's this kind of theme of the authorities not really caring about her well-being.
Okay.
They just don't care. They don't care at all.
They don't care. Because then it cuts to a scene of Jeff meeting with the FBI and them playing back Tanya's confession.
Yeah, like they have her whole transcript of everything she said. They show it to him, which seems like a bit of a breach of confidentiality.
Yeah.
But it was...
Well, I guess it was the 90s at this point.
Like, here's the evidence. Like, are you going to admit to it now? And so, meanwhile, they live together. Here's the thing. They don't arrest any of them yet. Mostly because it's not about arresting. It isn't. But they haven't got, concrete proof.
Yeah.
But they show Jeff, and then
they just have
he
said, she said.
Yeah. And they have another confrontation where he's like chasing her around the house and like beating the shit out of her for what she said.
Yeah, and then there's like a scene after she's confessed to the FBI where Jeff comes to the house that she's living at, and like she locks herself in a room, and he's like on the outside of the room. He's in the house, but he's outside of the room, and is basically being like, "Why would you tell the FBI I did all this stuff?" And she's like, "Because you did."
Yeah,
and then he's like, he's crying. He's like, "What do I do?" And she's like, basically, probably kill yourself.
Oh yeah.
Oh wow.
Like
probably just fucking kill yourself.
She just straight up tells him through a door, you should probably just kill yourself. And then he starts crying, and then she like escapes through a window.
Wow.
And she's like, peace out. I'm not dealing with your bullshit anymore. She gets out. And then I think at this point in the movie is when they like intercut it with an interview with Sean basically being like, yeah, I'm an international counterterrorism expert. I work with espionage
or something. Yeah. Like a Barbara Walters.
Connie Chung. Connie Chung.
Oh, was it? Yeah, Connie Chung.
If it wasn't with him, I do know Connie Chung interviewed Harding. I don't know if she did with him, but essentially it's a legitimate interview, and they just cut it with him being like, yeah, I'm an espionage expert.
Yeah.
And we're all like,
you.
No, you're not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
you're not even the slightest bit.
Door. I don't even think he probably doesn't even have his GED.
He's a Reddit guy.
He's a
just
so Tonya leaves Jeff. This is like the last time they're together. She leaves him for good this time.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Tonya is like hounded by the press. You see shots of her like at her home. You see all of these press cars outside hounding her for information because they want to know what happened with Nancy Kerrigan. They end up
because at this point it's out that it's like Jeff and Sean were behind it in some ways. So now it's like, oh, Nancy or Tonya knew about it. Like, and that's kind of the whole thing about all this story up until this day is that whether Tonya really knew about this attack specifically.
Yeah. Whether or not she was complicit or she knew about
in the attack and not just like the death threat plan, like that. It was all like all of them knew, and the plan was the attack, not just the death threats. That's kind of the big dispute.
Okay. Yeah. So they show a scene where Sean, Jeff, and Shane are all arrested because they're obviously very complicit in the situation.
Yeah.
And then they cut to a scene with Tonya, and Tanya's like, you know what? It's not just my mom and my Jeff. And my Jeff. It's not just my mom and Jeff.
Tonya, my Jeff, mom here.
It's not just like, hey, you guys. It's not just like these three people attacked me. Everyone, if you were an audience member, you guys fucked up too. You guys are my attackers. Shame on you.
This is why she's the most hated woman in America.
This is the victim mentality.
Yes. And it's like during this time, everyone was blaming her. They weren't blaming Shane. They weren't blaming Sean. They weren't blaming Jeff. Everyone's eyes were on Tonya Harding and the fact that she
as
probably
the mastermind.
Yeah, she orchestrated this attack. Whereas the movie paints it as she was completely ignorant of what was going on. She didn't have any say on what was happening. She thought that maybe a death threat was going to happen, but she didn't know that Nancy was going to get attacked.
Yeah.
So
then there's a scene. There's a really shitty scene. It's shitty.
It's the shittiest scene. It's so shitty. It's so crappy.
There's so much. There's all this press and bands outside of where Tanya's living, and she gets like a knock on the door, and she opens it up, and it's
wait.
But
it's not
this is the scene.
No. But she gets knocked on the door, and she's like, no, leave me alone. Leave me alone. Yeah. She's assuming it's press. She's assuming it's reporters. Banging does not stop on the door. She finally answers the door. And then who is it?
Lavona. Is it like Laverna, but like without the
Lavona?
Lavona. That's what I'm wondering is like
it's Mommy Dearest.
Yeah. And she comes in and she's there, she's there to support Tonya. She needs help. She needs a friend because basically everyone hates her, and she's supporting her. And She's offering her kind words, and they like hug, and Tonya's really upset and kind of crying.
She's actually saying
really,
kind words.
Yeah. Her mom is like,
manipulative mentality, toxic little fuck.
Her mom is like, I'm not here to tell you I told you so. I want to say I'm proud of you. I love you.
Not. She don't.
I'm on your side.
Mm-hmm.
I want to be here for you. Did you know about the attack?
And then basically Tonya like backs up to her mom and then kind of feels her down into her pocket, pulls out a tape recorder. She's got a wire on her.
Yeah, she's recording the whole thing.
Yeah.
So you basically, in that moment, you realize, okay, her mom is just here to sell her out for the story.
Yeah.
And then, Jeff, Sean, and Shane are charged, but Tonya's hearing's postponed until after the Olympics because she basically has got to go to the Olympics right away.
The Olympic committee, she's already on the Olympic team to go to the 1994 Olympics at this point. The Olympic committee, after this whole situation, is like, not sure if you should go. You might be a shitty person. Essentially, they let her go because the news wants to see the story between Nancy and Tonya at the Olympics. Like, that story is bigger. So they're like, we're going to dismiss you. We might charge Shane. Yeah, we're gonna arrest Sean. We're gonna arrest Shane. We're gonna arrest Jeff. But you've admitted being complicit and maybe associated with the situation. But we're gonna let you go to the Olympics. So the Olympic committee lets her go to the Olympics.
Which is fucking ironic because the whole fucking movie, they're like, you're not like up to our standard of like how you present yourself. And they're like, you potentially fucked up this person's kneecaps, but you can come anyway.
Yeah.
That's absurd.
1994. It is the Lillehammer Olympics. Winter Olympics. She is going to do her presentation. Nancy Kerrigan is also on the stage.
Yep. Her coach is Diane. She's got Diane back.
There's a really good scene of Margot Robbie in front of a mirror. Her makeup is like not
it's so
great. It's pretty bad. Like, this is a really great
to
scene.
What capacity?
If you see a screenshot or whatever, like from a picture from the 94 Olympics, that's what she looks like. That's what Tonya Harding looks like. It's like super deep blush. It looks like a
dark
doll.
lipstick, dark eyeshadow, pale as hell. Like, it does not look flattering, but
a purple outfit, right? Yeah, purple.
Yeah, purple.
That was her Olympic outfit.
1994 Olympics. Her makeup is on, and there's just this scene. There's no music. She's just in front of a mirror, and she's trying to practice her smile through tears, essentially, because she knows her life has gone to shit.
Yeah.
Next scene, she's backstage. People are panicking, trying to get her laces on. Her laces are broken. She can't get them on. Her laces on one skate are completely screwed up. And if you know anything about figure skating, if your laces aren't tied properly,
it throws everything off. Yeah,
you're screwed.
Your like skate has to be tight.
Like,
this is the day of her Olympic debut.
Yeah.
This is her Olympic performance. She's starting her routine, and about like maybe 30 seconds to a minute in, she's done a couple jumps. They're not exciting. She's just basically jumped, but she doesn't have any spin to it. And she starts to cry.
Yeah, she like breaks down.
She breaks down.
And
she's
skates.
She's crying.
Yeah.
It's a really tragic moment. She goes up to the place where the judges are seated in front of the audience, and she just puts her foot up on the judge's desk and is like, my laces are screwed. Like,
Are broken,
I can't skate.
yeah.
They're broke. I can't skate.
I
This
just
is
need
the
to fix
Olympics.
them. Yeah.
I need to
Yeah.
fix them, and I'll be able to do it.
And that's
Please.
there's a famous photograph of that too.
Oh,
of
I
that
saw
moment.
it when
You
I
saw it,
Googled
yeah.
her. Yeah. And I was like, what the fuck's she doing?
Yeah, so she's pleading with the judges through tears to let her like go fix skate, and that's like
Her
they
skates.
allow her to do that because
Okay.
they
Yeah.
know that you can't perform at your very best if your skates aren't properly like done.
She comes back on. She does her performance. She does a great job.
Yeah.
She lands 8th at the
Eighth place.
1994. She lands 8th place.
Yeah.
Nancy Kerrigan is also at the Olympics,
Okay.
and she placed 2nd, and she earned a silver medal.
Got the
Mhm.
silver.
Yeah.
After the Olympics have happened, they resume the trial of Nancy, they resume the trial of Tonya Harding in the case of Nancy Kerrigan's attack. And Tonya admits to being complicit.
Okay.
She didn't know anything about the incident,
Yeah.
but she didn't report that she knew on the incident when it happened. So they were
Yeah.
good enough to her that they waited until after the Olympics to hold the trials.
Yeah.
After they have the trials, they basically they charge her with being complicit to the attack. They charge her like $100,000 fine. They
That's
give
a
her
lot.
community service. They charge her with a bunch of different things, and that she has to be like an ambassador for a certain prize. And they ban her for life from the U.S. Figure Skating Association. Yeah, she breaks down because she's like,
Well, that was her life.
That was her life. And she
Since
breaks down.
4.
There's a really touching moment in the movie where she breaks down. Margot Robbie has an amazing performance where she breaks down and she's like I would rather do the prison time. I would rather spend my time in prison and have that done after 18 months than be banned for life from figure skating. Like, this is the only thing I know how to do.
Yeah, the next scenes are the prologue, basically.
It's kind of, it's the prologue. It's what happened after the incident. So after she's not allowed to skate, which is her entire life.
Life, literally.
What's
devastating.
Yeah, she's an athletic woman who is rough around the edges, and she wants to be in the limelight because that's when she gets the most money. So she became a boxer.
What?
Yeah.
What?
There's a great, so the last scenes of this movie is a great, she's in the boxing ring up against her competition. Just getting pummeled. She's not a great boxer, I think. That's what they're portraying. She was never actually a great boxer to begin, in her boxing career, but she did it anyway.
There's this really beautiful cinematic moment where she's in the boxing match and she's fighting against the other opponent. Earlier on in the movie, when she does the triple Axel, it's this beautiful slow-mo motion where she's doing it and she's rotating over and over again. And you see the facial reaction. And when she lands the triple Axel, there's that moment of triumph.
Yeah.
And they compare it in this final moment and they replicate it in the boxing match when she gets punched so hard that she kind of gets knocked out and falls to the ground, and she does
twists. She's kind of doing a twist. Yeah.
So it's that that double moment of finding a moment of triumph when she's doing a triple Axel compared to when she's getting hit in the face and she's spinning and then falling on the ground with blood on the bottom of the mat. But she's
I'm so
happy.
sad for her. Oh,
It's sad, but it's happy because at the end she smiles, and it's kind of that moment of she's doing something that means something important to her, And even though there's that contradiction of the first moment when she's spinning and she's accomplishing a triple axel and she's landing on her feet, it's comparing it to the moment when she's getting hit and knocked out and putting on the ground, but she still feels triumphant in that moment.
But the last shot of the film is that triumphant, like it when she lands and she does the kind of like presenting, it kind of slows right down to almost like a freeze frame, and that's like the last shot of the film is her landing the triple axel in her moment of triumph. Yeah. Alenka, now's the time on the show. Like when I ask you, how many midair rotations do you give I, Tonya?
Oh, it's so conflicting because I like it, but I don't like it. Am I referring to Tonya or Nancy or Jeff?
I think you're like...
Okay, so I give Jeff...
Is this a movie you're going to watch?
A fucking attempt and... Listen! Okay, Will, I don't fucking watch the movies. Let's make that clear. You guys, I don't watch the movies. I thoroughly enjoy the retelling of the movies. And you know what? Yeah. I put on in my real life as if I've seen the movie after the fact that I have heard about the movie. So
there you go.
People that
know all about it.
I do. I 100% do.
This podcast is actually just your personal pet projects to give you more talking points in social conversations.
I need topics to discuss with people. So it keeps me likable.
This podcast is just for your benefit on
pretty much.
It's just teaching you social skills.
It is. It is 100%. I'm like, hey, have you seen this movie? And I'm like, me neither. But like, I know this about it, which is literally.
But I know everything about it. I haven't seen it, but I know so many things about it.
Okay, so I give Jeff a fucking one twist in the air, fall on your goddamn ankle, break it, and then it gets infected and maggots start eating away at it. Jeff.
Accurate.
That's what I give Jeff. Nancy, tough call because we didn't hear too much about her. I just give her like a... not a ballad.
It's like a
what's
whack
it called?
In the shin, right? Yeah.
I guess you could, but I sympathize. Nancy gets a full sequined gown, floor length. Right. But the fact that it's floor length means she cannot compete because she can't function in a floor length gown. But she gets it in diamond encrusted gown. You're welcome, Nancy. Just hang it on your hanger. And then lastly, Tonya. She gets a perm where they get rid of that weird curl and they put in a new curl because the hair really is bothersome to me. And
it's very problematic.
It's weird. I guess that's her natural
Not in like
texture,
a social way,
fine.
just in a
fashion-wise.
A visual way. In a visual way, I thought it was a comedy strictly based off her bangs. So also, I give her 5 years into the future where her bangs are fully grown out and they're not a problem anymore. I also would love to give her a silver medal because I think she deserves. Yeah. That's my rating system: is a broken, infected ankle, a beautifully diamond encrusted gown, and a silver medal.
Well, if our listeners want to find you on the interwebs, Rebecca,
how do they do it?
Where can they do that? How?
Yes. So,
tell us.
I'll tell you. So currently I am a trivia host. I am associated with Descendants Beer and Beverage Co., which is located in Kitchener, Ontario. I am currently hosting a online trivia through Facebook. We are hoping to go off of Twitch soon. But if you look Trivial Dispute, you'll probably find me. We do trivia twice a week on Sundays and Wednesdays at 7:00. And we are in conjunction with triviarat.com. If you go to triviarat.com/live on Wednesdays and Sundays, you'll be directly inputted into our trivia team at that time. And yeah, we do general trivia. It's a lot of fun. It's a hoot. It's a friggin' hoot. So come play trivia if you want to learn more or test your knowledge. It's a great time.
There you go.
Yeah. I don't know shit, so like trivia is all
and
about
you know
the
what?
factual.
Actually, that's a great thing because if you don't know shit, you can still win a prize. We don't give prizes out for the top score. Yeah, we don't give prizes out for the top scoring team. If you just interact, you can get a participation
Oh my God.
You can get a participation trophy simply by partaking and making a comment on our videos and win. And it's a lot of fun. There's a lot of really good a lot of really good people that take part in it, and it's a lot of fun. So yeah.
Well, give us the plug.
Well, the plug is if you want to participate, you can on our social media accounts. I'm feeling this fucking champagne.
I know.
Yeah,
I feel like all of us are so fucked right now.
Oh my God.
This is
bourbon
probably
and champagne. Hello.
It's probably
Everyone, folks, you can follow us on Instagram and Facebook. That's at Haven't Seen a Podcast, or on Twitter at haven't_seen_it. We do a lot of stuff. I post stuff on Instagram and on Facebook. On Twitter, I live tweet the Marvel movies with my girlfriend Sam.
Hell yeah!
So that's been fun.
Who is awesome.
Sam's great.
I will pass that message along. Check out episode 2 of this podcast. That's Sam.
Yeah.
You can also go to our website. It's www.haven'tseenapodcast.com. All the episodes are there, clearly. There's a big list of all the movies on Lenka Hasn't Seen. It's constantly being updated because we suddenly think of a movie and I'm like, hey, Lenka, have you seen that movie? And she goes,
no, never.
No. So
never
then I add it to the list because I'm also the webmaster.
Just like Zach.
Yes, our theme song. Created by the wonderful Zach Parsons of episode 4, 5.
Fuck it. We
4.
like to shit on Zach. So Zach, fuck you and your theme song. And
but you know what? He does nail that high note.
He does, yeah.
As much as I shit on Zach, love the shit out of that kid.
Yeah. Also, one last thing. If you feel it in your heart, if you were like, I really love you guys and I want more people to know, share our podcast. Write a review of our podcast on iTunes, on Facebook, on fucking Stitcher, whatever you see the podcast. You can write a review. I'm pretty sure. Yeah. So just do it. Just put it out there and
do it.
We will appreciate it. You won't get any money or anything.
You'll get emotional gratification.
Yeah, that's absolutely. Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Think about how fun and like complete you'll feel if you just leave a review. I feel like most often people give a star rating when they've had a really bad experience. They're like, oh God, that was terrible. I'm going to make sure everybody knows. Don't be a fucking Karen.
Yeah, okay? Don't be a Karen.
Be
whatever the opposite of a Karen is.
What is the opposite of Karen?
An Emily.
A Narak.
Narak. Instead of a Karen. Because
be a Nancy Kerrigan.
Yeah. Be a Nancy Kerrigan. For once in your fucking life, why don't you try being a Nancy Kerrigan? I'm just trying to emotionally abuse you so that you try to obtain more in your life. So you're welcome.
Don't be the type of person that gets whacked in the knee until they do good. Just do good before you get whacked in the knee.
Yeah.
It's a great life motto. And I approve of that. I'm going to be a big Jeff Galooly and say, comment, like, put us in the limelight. Or is that the what's his nuts? I'm going to be a big old neckbeard and say,
be a Sean Eckert.
Yeah.
I'm going to be a Sean Eckert and say, give us a follow, give us a like. Comment how much you liked drinking fucking champagne and bourbon, because I think we all did. We enjoyed it thoroughly, even though Will had red fucking wine. We had fun time. Hashtag did you? You did. You guys, we'll see you next week. It's been a fucking blast. Thank you again. Until next time, continue to watch movies. Just kidding. Don't watch the movies. Have your friends tell you about them. Bye, babies. Love you. Bye.